Did you know that in Western astrology, Pluto represents extraterrestrials? Not just the little gray dudes, okay? Pluto symbolizes anything alien to the human ego, the hidden, the forbidden, and the power behind the curtain. And now that Pluto is in Aquarius, it's kind of about pushing secret, taboo, foreign issues all into the collective awareness. So, what is the nature of Pluto? Okay. Pluto rules the underworld, what's concealed, taboo, or too intense for everyday consciousness type stuff. It's the planet of deep transformation, the death rebirth process, obsession, control, secrecy, power dynamics, and the moment when the invisible becomes an undeniable truth in our lives. So, like when Pluto was discovered in 1930, it arrived like with a cultural wave of, right after discovery, humanity started probing the unknown realms. Okay, so we have the unconscious, the subconscious moving to center stage, right? So like depth psychology, shadow work, all the concepts that Carl Jung's contributions helped come into focus for humanity. Did you know that Carl Jung used astrology in his sessions? Nuclear power, okay, that's another one, which is what? Raw, invisible forces with enormous consequences. I mean, that was the start of the atomic age in the 1930s. And then soon after, we had the UFO, now UAP era ramping up because that's when the Roswell UFO crash retrieval happened. So Pluto equals the stuff that feels alien to our current identity, forces that mutate us, okay? In that sense, aliens are an archetype of Pluto, okay? The other that changes everything by contact, okay? So now since November 2024, Pluto has come fully into the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. So remember that signs in astrology, they color the quality and style of the planet that we're observing. So what's Aquarius all about? Well, Aquarius is a fixed air sign. So air is thought. Air is an element, is thought, connection, communication, language. Now a fixed air stabilizes and structures the invisible framework that connects minds. So think like networks, protocols, code, radio, Wi-Fi, frequencies. It's basically the blueprint of how information moves through space. Now, Aquarius is also the natural 11th house of the zodiac, which represents mass communication, social networks, collective vision, collective aspirations, as well as distributed systems. So from a mundane astrology perspective, so say the 10th house, which is Capricorn, represents public institutions. The 11th house is the grid that lets the public talk to itself. So broadcasting, that came out in the 1930s. Satellites, global communities, distributed autonomous organizations, which is DAOs. And that's a kind of a new type of organization that operates in the decentralized blockchain, like crypto. The traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, whose nature is about structure, containment, seriousness, and responsibility. Uranus is actually considered the modern ruler of Aquarius, and it's about like electric breakthroughs, shock, innovation, and a sense of individualistic rebelliousness, like just being a rebel. So Saturn and Uranus as rulers of Aquarius together point to like a structured innovation and discovery. So hence why Aquarius rules science, tech, revolution, future systems, AI, and yes, contact with intelligences beyond the familiar. Okay? So now let's put Pluto and Aquarius together. So Pluto, the hidden power, entering Aquarius, the sky network, the future systems. Basically, what has been secret or taboo pushes through our networks and skies into collective awareness. So what are we seeing right now? Well, I mean, all over the news now, not just mainstream news. We've been seeing it. I've been seeing it for decades, documentaries and whatnot, but a ton of UFO, UAP stuff in the headlines. Now it's like radar anomalies, unknowns in restricted airspace. All right, we have all these firsthand videos from all over the world on the daily. Drones and swarms of drones interrupting airports and air traffic. AI, machine intelligence, changing how, the signal, the message, surveillance, interpretation work, as in who gets to say what's identified out there, right? We're all looking to the government to say, this is what's in our skies. And they're not even really talking. They're not answering. They're not saying what these things are, okay? So these are power struggles. And it's not just over the narrative and what's being identified. It's over the satellites in the sky, the orbital infrastructure. It's about censorship and what we're talking about here, disclosure, okay? Pluto is asking and then transforming, well, who controls this grid of information, okay? And right now, they don't have control over what we're seeing in the skies and what people are taking pictures of, right? So who is in control anymore? And then lastly, like Pluto and Aquarius, it's revelations. It's about black projects. It's the advanced propulsion rumors that we've got, which are really like secret government projects that reveal capabilities that are seemingly foreign to our ideas of what is possible. And finally, simply the fact that the world is more crowded now with non-human signals. And this is more than we've admitted or cared to pay attention, like where were all of you during all those episodes and seasons of Ancient Aliens, right? So last time Pluto was in Aquarius, let's think, the late 1700s, okay? That was when people were being shocked about what was happening at the time and being discovered. So, we have Ben Franklin and electricity. We have the revolutions, the American Revolution, the French Revolution. We have flights with balloons now, whole new systems, okay? In our era, the alien shows up more literally and more digitally, okay? So these non-human aerial phenomena, plus like the non-human intelligence, which again could be ETs or AI, right? Or something interdimensional you can't even frame exactly yet. Pluto is testing the integrity of these realities by transforming our ability to verify and understand these foreign ideas. How do you incorporate this knowledge into your awareness? I mean, Pluto and Aquarius is about like systems literacy, right? So learn more about the architecture of these happenings. Saturn loves competence, right? The ruler of Aquarius. So be open to all of this without gullibility. And then Uranus brings shocks, Pluto brings intensity. So keep your sovereignty, right? Which is Aquarius. So keep your sovereignty while staying curious. It also represents shadow work at the collective level. It's not just about personal healing, okay? The systems we are talking about, they need therapy. They need transparency. And ultimately, they need reform, okay? Why? Pluto and Aquarius is basically the age of contact with the foreign, the future, and parts of ourselves that used to be kind of out there, right? The skies are getting stranger because as a species, we are getting deeper. This gets into the quantum effect. We don't necessarily think something exists until we see it, until we observe it, until our trusted tool of science comes in and does a repeatable experiment and says, oh, yep, this is true, right? So as we get deeper, we're seeing things that we just haven't seen before, okay? And then as my final metaphysical spin to all this, part of this realization is that what we are realizing and seeing has always been there. But we have been conditioned for eons to reject what we don't understand and to just believe what our structured authorities and institutions tell us to believe, okay? Not anymore. Okay, we have some notable predictions from a myriad of sources that real, true disclosure of our place in the cosmos, the history of humanity and the planet, and what these realities of non-human intelligence are all about and why they're here. And it's all coming to a head, right? There's a lot about this 3-eye atlas interstellar object, okay, that we've been tracking since summer, and how it's breaking all sorts of implied or established rules that science has placed on what happens in outer space. I mean, depending on this expert's role in society, whoever you're listening to, they're either going to be safe with their words, or they're going all out with prophecies of what this object is bringing close or to Earth in the coming weeks or months. So, whatever it turns out to be, we will know soon enough. So be careful about attempts to downplay or manipulate what we will experience or not experience with 3-eye atlas. What is very apparent right now, though, is the information is coming out. The ability to control what has been controlled for a long time is losing its grip. Okay? Don't be fooled by attempts to continue to control this narrative. It's getting desperate. So let it unfold. All right? Stay centered and grounded and be open to new levels of beliefs about who you are and your place in the cosmos. Okay? It's enough for now. Talk to you soon.